Welcome to Sensational Living with Liliana. We have an excellent Mexican, super low carb, ketogenic carne asada. So normally with carne asada, you are always using tortillas. In fact, a lot of times when you go to restaurants and you ask for any kind of tacos, they usually give you 2 corn tortillas in each little serving. So that could be up to 20 carbohydrates for each little taco. So if you're eating 2, that could be up to 40 grams of sugar in just those tacos. So today we're going to cut those tortillas completely out, and we are going to use jicama. Jicama is my new favorite tortilla, and it's awesome because it's going to be live and it's going to be full of nutrients as well as super low carbohydrates. Now we're also going to do, because you can't have carne asada tacos without some Spanish rice. So we're going to do a cauliflower Spanish rice. So we're going to probably have all together with the Spanish rice and the tacos, maybe somewhere around 14 carbs. So this is super for weight loss, for patients who need any kind of reduction of glucose, whether it's cancer or diabetes. This recipe is going to be a winner for you, and your family's absolutely not going to miss that tortilla. So we're going to start by making the sauce first, and I'm going to be making an asada sauce. And this should be a lot of fun because this is actually the first time I've made it, but when I was doing it earlier and tasting it, it tasted really awesome. So we're going to use the Vitamix, so I'm just going to come over here, plug it in so that it moves for me. It has been one of those extraordinary hot days here in Orange County, so it's been amazing. Unfortunately, some people are having a deluge of rain, and so we pray for them and send them lots of healing and love, and let's send the sunshine in their direction. So we're going to start with 1 orange. So this is about a 1/2 cup, and so let's go ahead and put that in. We're also going to put a 1/2 cup of olive oil. We're going to put some jalapeno pepper as well. I'm going to put that. Let me get this one here. You can use serrano chili if you want. I've just got a jalapeno, so I've got 1 jalapeno. And again, you can put half of it if you don't like it too hot. As I said before, you know, with our Mexican heritage, we like things with a little bit of a kick. I'm going to put 4 garlics in there. And I'm going to start out with putting 1 chipotle chili, and I have seeded it, so there's no seeds in this at all. And I've got some really nice fresh oregano, so I'm just going to put a handful in there, just about a pinch. And of course, I've left some on the plate, so if I want to add a little bit, I always can. I'm going to put a good handful of cilantro in there. So I've got a good fistful there. And I'm going to put 2 limes, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, or actually 2 teaspoons, not 2 tablespoons. Could be 2 tablespoons, but we're going to start with 2 teaspoons. I'm going to put a little bit of cumin, about a teaspoon, so I'm going to just put that in my hand here. And then again, as I said, as you taste it, you can add a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. Okay, let's whip this thing up. Oh, let's add some salt. So let's start off with about 1.5 tablespoons. This is some Celtic salt, and I only use good salt, Himalayan rock salt, real salt. This has natural sodium, so I'm going to put about 1.5. Now I'm going to go ahead and put 2 teaspoons in there. I'm going to go ahead and add some fresh ground black pepper. You can be generous with this. Okay. Let's give this a whirl. Blender, because you don't want this chunky, you want it nice and smooth because it's a marinade. I'm going to go ahead and taste it for if I want to add a little more chili to it, if I want to add a little bit more of just about anything. That's awesome. It's got just enough kick there. When it hits the back of your throat, it doesn't make my eyes water, but it makes me definitely get a little taller. All right, so again, you can have it a little bit saltier because once it goes onto the marinade, you know, it will lose some of its saltiness. All right, now to this, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in here. Now, we are going to use a gluten-free beer, and we don't need much, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to cover the carne asada fully because we're gonna marinate this. I've already done this and marinated it, prepared it, so that you can get the full taste of this wonderful marriage of all these great spices. So again, I use this Glutini. This is a gluten-free beer, and of course, if you don't have a gluten issue, but I'm all about gluten-free because it really disturbs many people's gut in terms of their digestive capacity. So gluten-free is what I use. I'm going to put approximately about just a half a cup. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and give it a little taste. I'm going to add a little teeny bit of paprika to this. I forgot the paprika. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and add about a teaspoon of paprika just to give it just a little teeny bit more color. Ooh, that taste is so awesome. Okay. You are absolutely going to love this. So look at how easy that marinade is. You don't have to go and buy a carne asada that's already got its marinades, and it might have, you know, ingredients that we don't really feel are very healthy. And so again, we don't want any stabilizers on it. So this is so easy, and it's done in just a few moments, so it won't take you very much time. And, you know, in fact, if I wanted to make this in advance, I would just make everything except for I wouldn't put the beer in it. I would put the beer in that day, and I could stick it in a mason jar, and it could stay in the refrigerator definitely for a week. So it's nice to have sauces and marinades that you can just reach in the refrigerator and make something fabulous. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and set that aside. So I put the marinade in a Ziploc bag. And as you can see here, it's fully coated. So that's exactly what we want it to do. We want it so that there's plenty of sauce on there. Now, we're not going to use any of this sauce after we've cooked this, so we're just going to use it just simply as a marinade. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it in there until I am ready to cook that. It's not going to take very long because what I have done is I've taken the carne asada and then I cut it in half and then I sliced it against the grain. And so what I'm gonna do, a lot of times they'll take the whole carne asada and they'll put it on the grill, and then afterwards they'll do the cutting. But since I'm gonna be using jicama as tortillas, and they're gonna be small, and I'm gonna be threading them through a skewer, a wooden skewer, I want the meat chopped up really quite small. So this is just gonna make it a lot easier in regards to cooking and preparation. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the cauliflower, actually, yeah, I'm gonna start the cauliflower right, so we're gonna get that going. Now, again, cauliflower is super low carbohydrates. In fact, 3.5 cups of cauliflower equals 9 grams of sugar or carbohydrates. So that's really low. And again, you know, this is one of my favorite dishes because it accompanies a lot of different entrees just to give you that sense of fullness, which is really great, because who wants to feel hungry after they've eaten? Not me. And so again, I always tell patients that they really think that 3/4 of what is on their plate is coming from the plant kingdom. They really keep a nice balance in terms of that alkalinity, the nice chlorophyll food to help to just to balance out the amines when we cook our meats. And so again, the more vegetables you can have on your plate, the better, the fuller, the higher the fiber, and the more satiety that you are going to feel. So we're going to just start out by just taking a half a cup of onions, and at the same time, I am going to go ahead and just heat up this broth. I'm doing it the way my mom did it. So she didn't use cauliflower rice, but she used regular rice, and we absolutely loved it, but we're all keto style now. So I'm just going to start off with approximately about, I'd say, a 1/4 cup of chicken broth. And this was great chicken broth I found at Trader Joe's. It's free range and it's organic, so you can't beat that. So now I can always add a little bit more broth to the broccoli once I start cooking it. I don't want it to be mushy. So you want to just kind of add that chicken broth afterwards. But right now what I want to do is just take a little bit of tomato paste, and I'm just going to put approximately about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste in here. So right now, you can also do this really simply and just go ahead and add it to the rice after you have it cooking. So we don't need to do this extra step, but I like doing it this way because I want to be able to, you know, have it nice and hot when it goes on there as well. This is the way my mom did it. So I don't know, I'm just kind of, you know, we get into patterns and habits of the things that we were taught, and it's nice because when I do things like this, it reminds me of my mom. So even though she has passed on to another dimension, she still lives within my soul. So every time I cook, I'm so appreciative that she really put her heart and soul into cooking for us and keeping us so vital. What's really great is that when you eat this way, you stay not only healthy, but you stay looking young for such a longer period of time had you not had that nutrition. I'm really proud to say I'm going to be 60 pretty soon, next month in fact. So a lot of people, when they turn, you know, 50 or 60, they start going backwards in regards of even wanting to admit that they're that age. But not me. I'm excited about it because I can inspire you and any younger person, because they're like, wow, you know, she's 60, my goodness, I've got a lot to look forward to. Not that I'm bragging, but at the same time, I'm really pretty proud. I know genetics plays a bit role in there, but honestly, it's all about what you eat in regards to how your body functions. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of olive oil, approximately about a tablespoon and a half. I'm gonna go ahead and add some onions here. So go ahead and put those in. I put about a half a cup. Now I chopped them a little bit finer than I'm going to use for the vegetables that I'm going to put in the meat. And the reason I did it is because the cauliflower is very fine, and so I don't want this chunk along with this smoothness. So I'll go ahead and get that going. Let me get a... So we got a lot of moving parts here, but that's great because when you are focused on making something, you put your attention and love into it, but at the same time, don't get too ADD because you don't want anything to burn. Now I'm just going to cook these up so that they are translucent. I'm not really going to caramelize them or anything like that, so we'll just let that go there. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and start the vegetables. And we'll set this over here because that will be the last thing we are going to do. All right. So again, I'm going to put approximately about a tablespoon of avocado oil in there. I like using avocado or walnut because it works really well at a high heat. I don't use olive oil because it has about 180 smoking point, and since the keto lifestyle is more fats, we really want to preserve our fat so that it's more usable in terms of our hormones and our good cholesterol. So I tell patients, try to cook with the least amount of fat and wait till you take your food off of the fire to drizzle some oil on it for your salads or for your vegetables, and that makes that fat a more usable fat. A keto lifestyle is approximately anywhere, for weight loss, I usually have them not do as high as I would if someone had cancer, but anywhere between 55 and 75% of their total caloric intake is fat. So again, fat, good fat, doesn't make you fat. Frankenfats make you fat, and that's all those kind of hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated fats that your body really doesn't know what to do. It sticks it up against the arterial wall and creating a lot of problems cardiovascularly. And so we do not want to have that. So I'm going to put this pan, now that I've cooked these onions and they're a little translucent, I'm going to bring the heat up, because what I want to do is like my mother used to do. She used to take the rice and she used to toast it. And so since this really isn't rice, I'm going to go ahead and turn up the heat and let's see if we can get the same texture on that. I love my salad master pans. So great about these pans is they are surgical steel, so they're not going to pick up any of the toxicity that any other kind of pan would. And I love that. So again, I try to do everything I can to not create oxidation. As we get older, we're automatically oxidizing more. I'd say we're rusting from the inside out. So we always want to be doing detoxifications all the time on a regular basis. And so several times a year I do pretty, intensive detox. But on a day-to-day lifestyle, it's, gosh, just drinking enough water every day is helping the lymphatic system. Exercising every day so that you can sweat and you can respirate some of those toxins out is very, very important. Today I had a great class and spin class, and wow, it was really a hard class today, and it was challenging. I know I always have to talk myself into going to some of these challenging classes because I know I'm going to feel so much better afterwards. And even though it's hard and I'm like, okay, here we go. But once I'm there, I just put my mind to it. And what is my purpose? My purpose is to get stronger. And so when the teacher's coaching us, go a little harder, go this RPM, this power, motivates me. And even though I'm sweating profusely like crazy, but it's so hard, it feels really great. And I always am so thankful to myself for making that effort when sometimes I don't really feel like doing it. So again, you got to create impact in regards of your workload when you're exercising so that you can continue to progress. If you do the same thing every single week, you go work out at the gym and you spend 30 minutes on the bicycle and 30 minutes on the treadmill, well, basically your body will just stabilize and you won't really get results. So just like we do with cooking, and we try to confuse the body in regards to not always give it the same thing with muscle confusion. You want to be able to not allow the body to get into a complacent state. And so if you do cross training, that's really the best. And I love doing the spin bike because it's a really excellent workout where I'm sweating, within 10 to 15 minutes. I've really got my detoxification pathways really working really well. And so I love it. Big bang for the buck. Okay. So again, you want to keep this on high. This isn't really going to brown like rice. When you do rice, it kind of gets a little white and you can kind of hear it crackling a bit. This won't do that. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and I've got the onions all mixed in just nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and add this tomato paste with a half a cup of, well actually it was about a quarter cup of chicken broth. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that there. And then that way I can see if I want to add a little bit more broth to this, but I really want it to have a nice color to it and get that nice tomato flavory that we're so used to having when we have Spanish rice. You see, if you don't pay attention how I left that pan on. So let's go ahead and take it off for a second because we don't want these onions to get instantaneous caramelized. This is why it's so great. My husband loves to cook too, so it's really nice. We were just talking about, how often so many people go out to dinner because they just don't want to come home after a hard day's work and cook and clean, and so they end up eating food that's not of good quality because one, you didn't make it, there's not a whole lot of love in it oftentimes with ingredients that aren't organic and fresh. And what's really nice is that when you have a mate that's equally excited about eating fabulous and cares about what they put into their body, we do it together. And so again, I'd say probably a good 5 days out of the week we cook absolutely extraordinary, sensational meals. And then 2 days a week, we go out to dinner and have some fun. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that just like that. I'm not going to put too much more liquid in there. I'm going to let it cook for a little bit. And then if I see that I want to add a little bit more, I'm going to add a little salt. I'm going to put about, I'd say, now the thing with cauliflower, it leans to be a bitter, right? Because it's a cruciferous vegetable. And so cruciferous is nice because it really helps for detoxification, has the sulfur in it. But because of that, it's kind of bitter. So again, don't overdo it, but I start off with about a teaspoon and see how we go there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw these onions in here. I'm gonna go ahead and taste this to see if it is salty enough. Plenty salty. Just put at the most a teaspoon in there. go ahead and put the lid on it. And I'm going to turn it down just to low while I do the rest of this preparation here. Now let's go ahead and start the carne asada. So I'm going to use a cast iron skillet. This is a very old skillet, so it's been treated with a lot of love. There's no rust. It's been oiled really well. And you know, it's probably about 20 years old, 25 years old. So again, every time I use it, I make sure that I season it, put some oil in it so we keep it really pristine. And of course, you want these old ones because it doesn't leach the iron. And a lot of times, especially people who have cancer, have high levels of iron is not beneficial. And so the older the pan is, the less iron that it will release. So we have that going there. I'm just going to put some coconut spray in here because I'm really looking to grill it more than I am to, you know, cook it so that it's soupy and so forth. Where is my water? There it is. Boy, drinking water is absolutely essential. If my water is not in front of me, I don't drink oftentimes. As I'm choking on cauliflower. Never a dull moment in the kitchen, that is for sure. Okay, let's get this thing going. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and throw the hatch chilies in here. And I've got a nice big hatch chili and a little teeny bit of jalapeno. So just depending on how hot you want it. It was just one whole chili. Again, you can add it to your liking. I'm going to put some bell pepper in there. I've got 1.5 bell peppers. This is about 1.5 cups of bell pepper. Now this meal will feed about 4 to 6 people comfortably, and I have some family coming over this evening, so they're in for a big surprise. My sister says she is going to make some chile relleno, so that will accompany this really, really nicely. Okay, so let's get that going there. So I'm going to go ahead and drain off some of this liquid. Now what I did is I took it out of the refrigerator for a half an hour prior to cooking. Now I've got this skillet pretty darn hot, so I'm going to go ahead and just lay those in there nicely. And so you can see they're pretty thin slice. This should cook pretty rapid. This is a really nice flank steak. This is not a skirt steak, it's a little bit better. And you know, these meats are, they're not very expensive, which is nice, so you can feed a crowd for, you know, pretty good value. Okay, everything is moving in a good direction. I had a patient this week stop me, and it was really great. I love patients when they give me updates. A lot of our patients come from all over the country, and so they'll come for 2 weeks at a time, 3 months at a time. And anyway, this is a patient that has been with us for a little over a year, and she has an immunity, and she has cancer actually. And her husband stopped me and he said, "Hey, look at me, I lost 80 pounds and my wife's lost over 100 on this keto lifestyle you've given us." And I said, "Well, how do you feel?" And he said, "We feel fantastic." And I said, "Well, so how long are you here?" He goes, "Well, we're just here for one day because we just came to do some labs to get an update to see how we are." And you know, that really made my heart feel so warm and wonderful. And it's so great that when people really follow and adhere to a lifestyle for a long period of time, their body automatically goes back into balance all on its own. I tell every single patient, your body knows exactly how to heal itself given the right environment. So we don't give it the right environment, then again, it just continues to do what it's always done, and that may be manifesting disease. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and flip these over. I wanna overcook this because nobody likes tough meat. Doing good here. How's this rice coming along? Let me get a little taste. Hopefully it won't choke me again. Hit the back of my throat and stick there. Still a little teeny bit crunchy. I want it just a little bit softer. I'm going to go ahead and add some cilantro now. Let me see here. I'm going to add this one that's chopped up a little bit more. My mom always added cilantro, add a good generous amount there. Why not? High chlorophyll and great for chelating heavy metals out of your body. My husband usually is the one who makes most of the meat, the proteins for meat, so this is fun and exciting because hopefully he'll be happy and that I did a good job. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out now, and don't want to overcook it at all. I'm going to cut this into small little pieces as well, and so we're going to let it rest for just a few moments. I'm going to be stuffing these in the jicama shell. They're going to go into the oven for, just really until the jicama shell gets a little bit soft. So I definitely do not want to overcook these. Set those to the side. Let those rest a bit. I'm going to turn this rice up a little bit more. You can go ahead and mix the cilantro in there. Excellent. I'm just going to, for fun, add just a teeny bit of cumin in there. Why not? I got it sitting right here. It's always fun to experiment. My mom didn't add cumin to it, but let's see what happens. Okay. That is perfect. I'm going to turn it off, put the lid on, and just let it rest. Okay, put that to the side. Now let's make these wonderful little tortilla chips. Now, not really chips, tortillas from the jicama. Well, this is the hardest part, is to peel this jicama. All right, let me show you what it looks like. Looks like this, and so again, don't let that discourage you. Cut the ends of it off and just take a knife, and if you don't cut it perfectly round, it doesn't matter. We're going to be using a mandolin and making really nice slices out of it. Today I just took it and I peeled it and I just sliced it just like that. So I'll just kind of show you how that looks. I'm going to set this over here. So you just get a mandolin. And I need some more room here. I keep saying I need a bigger kitchen. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Exciting. But I'm happy with what I have. So here we go. So this is how you do it. Here, I'm going to take this out of the way so that you can see. You don't need those anymore. Okay. Just going to take the jicama and you're just going to slice it. And look at that. Beautiful little slices. Now I sliced this earlier, and this is again just to make it easy so that you can have less time in preparation. And what I did is I took the jicama after I sliced them and I put them in some water to keep them nice and white so they didn't turn brown or oxidize on me. So what I did is, you want to dry them off completely. So I just layered them with just a little bit of paper towel here, okay? I'm gonna just set this here for a minute so we can make these. Now I'm only going to make a few for demonstration because I have my family coming over tonight and I want them to be perfectly fresh and nice and hot. So again, now you're just going to take this gently and you're going to take a skewer and you're just going to thread it. Now again, don't push them together. You want to keep them open because we don't want to break this. Now I was experimenting the other day and I took them and I grilled them a little bit and made them a little bit more flexible, so you can easily do that however you choose. If you're finding that, you know, you're kind of, it's breaking up a little bit, then you can use that if you feel more secure doing that. But isn't that nice? So you can put, I'd say like put 3 on each one. Okay, and you can keep them open. Oops, see just how that one did that? So, you know, I'm thinking that just taking them and putting them on a grill with just a teeny bit of oil just for a moment or two might be a good idea. So we can play with that. I'm gonna just set that there. In fact, let's play with it right now and see how that would be. This is what you call ad-libbing. It's wonderful, I love it. So I always say there's no failure in life, it's only feedback. So let's just try this. Those are nice and beautiful, but I'm just thinking that might be kind of nice because I did try it the other day and I thought, well, that's pretty good. It worked out pretty nicely. I don't want them to be overcooked at all. I want them to have that little crunch when you bite into them. So let's turn that up a bit. While that is heating up, I am going to go ahead and cut this meat up. Now I'm going to grab my meat here. One thing about tacos, no matter what, it's all about primal eating, right? Because you got to use your hands and you're going to get messy. Now I'm just going to cut this into small little pieces because they're going to go inside a very small little tortilla. So just bite size. That is awesome. So I am going to use my pan here. And of course, I just took a bite of it. The marinade was really nice. I could use just a teeny bit more salt. So when I stick it in there with the vegetables, I'm going to go ahead and season it just a teeny bit more. So I'm going to slice this in half again and just give them into bite-sized pieces. Now, again, if you were using a regular tortilla, probably you wouldn't want to cut it into these small bite size, but we're going to fit it inside of our little jicama, which is a little small little tortilla. So we want it to be just nice. This is nice and tender. That marinade did a great job. It's still a little pink inside, which is awesome. You want to keep it slightly medium rare, okay? Because you just do not want dry. Let's go ahead and throw a couple of these jicama on there and let's see, play with that a bit. I was talking to a patient today, actually not today, yesterday, and she was pretty frustrated because she just can't lose weight no matter what she does. And of course she was feeling really depressed and down because somehow she was feeling, you know, it's all her fault and everybody thinks she overeats. And honestly, I tell patients being overweight isn't oftentimes, you know, what you're eating, it's what you're not able to get out. And so often, you know, people don't digest well and they end up in having more toxins, which end up in fat cells. And then if they're not balancing out their glucose levels and they end up with blood sugar issues or inflammation like elevated CRP levels, then they can get what we call insulin resistant or fat resistant. And so I tell patients, oftentimes it's not your fault. And we need to really look at metabolic markers in regards to how your body is mechanically functioning. And so if you have an elevated insulin level, if you have a body fat that's over 33%, which is considered clinical obesity, I always tell patients if they took their waistline and they took their hip measurements, and if they're the same, then that's very problematic for the cardiovascular system. Unfortunately, the weight around your abdominal produces bad estrogens for men and women. And so again, that is our goal we're going to target. We're going to target that any weight that comes off is not your wonderful precious muscle that's so important, especially at my age, but the fat, the unnecessary fat that we don't need ever. Whatever age you are, and you guys know that you go to the beaches and you see a lot of children that are obese. It's very, very sad. And I think it's like 32% of the population, or 38% are obese right now. And that's pretty darn scary. Okay, so I'm gonna take these off. You can see here, they're still firm, but they're a little bit more pliable. So I think we're gonna go with that. I like that idea. Okay, I'm gonna throw 2 more on there, because we're not gonna make too many, just enough. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and thread these out, see if it makes a difference. Okay. So you can experiment. They're a little softer there, but I think they'll be just perfect. Now these ones are a lot. Now sometimes one edge is a little thinner than the other, and so you want to be careful that that little edge doesn't get torn. Okay, I don't know. I'm kind of liking the fact that the ones that are a little not so cooked there are just perfect. So you play around with it, see what works best for you. Remember, there's no perfect way to do absolutely anything. It's what works best for you. Take your time with these. You're not in a hurry. So I'm thinking here that don't overcook these, because you want them to be nice and firm to be able to put the ingredients in. So I'm going to take those off just like that. Perfect. Okay. I think I could add one more onto that one. So I'm going to pull these back just a little bit. And I'd say, you know, if you served 4 for each person, I think they're going to be pretty darn happy, okay? Sometimes we have bigger eaters, but again, you can make plenty of these and have them ready to rock and roll. Okay, there we go. Keep them nice and open there. Let's add one more to this one too. We're gonna leave it just like that, why not? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and add this meat back to the pan just so that I can mix the vegetables. Now I'm not gonna add all the vegetables because we're not gonna need them all right now for our demonstration. I don't need to heat it, I don't wanna heat it, I just wanna mix it. And then I wanna taste it for salt. Remember I said when I first took a little bite, it felt like it needed a little bit more salt. So I'm gonna go ahead and test it now with all of these other vegetables. It's a teeny bit, not much. Hardly any at all. I'm just gonna go ahead and just give it a little drizzle there. And I'm gonna add just a teeny bit more black pepper too. It's got a great, nice little spice to it. You're gonna absolutely love this. Okay, there we go. Nice. Let's take this out of the way. Okay, here we go. This is fun. So we're just gonna take some and just generously put some right into the center. And see how nicely it fits in there when it's cut up like this? So we can put some on one side and some on another side. You know, just kind of guide it in there nicely. What do you think, Landy?
Oh, they look good.
They look pretty darn good, huh?
Yeah.
I know. Well, my sister, we had some leftover shrimp from last week's show, and I said, hey, I got these jicama, let's make some shrimp tacos. And that's what inspired me today to make this, because I thought, oh my gosh, these are absolutely delicious. And she said, I can't believe how full I am. And I said, yeah, you probably had like about, you know, because all we had was this, we didn't have any cauliflower rice. And I said, yeah, you probably had, you know, about maybe 6 carbohydrates in that. And it was really nice because we stayed full for quite a bit in regards to feeling that satiation. Okay. So you want to fill them up generously. Now, you could easily make these vegetarian. The mixture that I made with the vegetables, if I wanted to add a little bit of mushrooms, a little teeny bit of shredded zucchini, that would make just a great filling. So again, you can use these little shells for absolutely anything vegan if you want. And now I'm going to be using a little bit of some cheese today. Now, in a keto lifestyle, if you don't have issues with cancer, I say that cheese can be utilized. But again, you want to get organic. You want to do goat or sheep cheese as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the oven. I'm not going to put any cheese on them until the very end because I want the little shell to just soften up just a tad. Okay, let me just put those in. I'm going to put it in about 350. Excellent. And while that is in there, I am going to go ahead and cut some avocado. Now and then again, the avocado, you know, I didn't make guacamole because I didn't want a big old plop on top of this taco. And so I'm just going to use this as garnish and just slice it. And then that way they can put it in there. They can, you know, take their fork and eat it the way they want to. But I find that this works really, really well. Come on, you little guy. Move. Okay. Now, you choose the way you want to peel your avocado, but I just take my finger and I just kind of run it across the skin there and it pops out just nice. Some people don't want to get their fingernail full of avocado, but I don't mind. So you can use a spoon just as easy as you can to figure. This one was a little stuck to the avocado here, but we make everything work. Okay. So again, as I was saying, you know, oftentimes you might think you don't have willpower, but what's happening is that you potentially might be out of balance in terms of your chemistry. How would you know if you had metabolic syndrome? Well, by getting lab work, if you have an elevated insulin, elevated CRP level, elevated cholesterol level, your body fat is more than 33%, those are all indication that your body is no longer functioning the way it needs to be a fat burning machine. And so I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do that in the Keto Kickstart Club, and it's going to be awesome because I'm going to guide you through really all the shortcut ways to get there, and you're not going to have to you know, guess or wonder because we're going to have it set up perfectly for you. The thing about being in metabolic syndrome is it actually shuts off your ability to burn fat. And that's not good, is it? And you end up with a fatty liver oftentimes. So many people have a fatty liver. It's a non-alcoholic fatty liver. And it's when the body no longer can house fats, what does it do? It's going to dump it straight into the liver. And then it's so hard to lose weight. And these are my patients that are so frustrated because no matter what they do, they can't lose a single pound regardless of their diet and exercise. So then we really need to focus on detoxing the liver and giving them different natural agents to support that. I'm a big fan of liver gallbladder flushes. I like to do those at least 3 times a year. When someone has a fatty liver, I say once a month would be probably a great idea. Okay, I'm gonna pull out those tacos and put a little cheese on them, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put them back in for just a second. So I just kind of, you know, felt the tortilla here. It's still nice and crisp. The ones that I cooked are a little teeny bit softer. So you know, again, you kind of use your discretion. If you want a little softer, go ahead and cook them. These ones are the ones that are cooked. These ones are the ones that are a little firmer. So I kind of like that. Okay. Just a little bit of some goat cheese on there that I shredded. And you could, you know, again, you really don't want to use vegan cheese because this isn't a vegan meal, but for people who want to do a vegetarian and they're stuffing it with vegetables, you can use an almond cheese that there's many of them that are out there. And you know, you got to acquire a taste. It's not going to be this creamy luxury that you would get from a goat cheese type of a cheese, but it's still really, really good. So when you can't have cheese in your diet, that is just a wonderful alternative. Okay, we're going to pop these back in the oven. And these are exciting. I am so looking forward to biting into one of these. Okay. And I won't need to leave them in very long, just enough to go ahead and melt the cheese on top. So you want to keep your eye on that. Now go ahead and prepare a plate. We'll get that cauliflower rice on there as well. And so probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cauliflower rice down first, and then I'm going to put the tacos right on top. It should be really a beautiful presentation. And then I'm not featuring any kind of salsa today, but again, I just say use your favorite salsa. Maybe you might even want some sriracha sauce on it, whatever. I happen to have my sister's homemade salsa. And it was so cute because her daughter got married this year, and as a giveaway gift, she gave these really cute little jars of her homemade salsa. And so it's great because, again, it's made with a lot of love, and we're quite famous for our salsas. My mother made extraordinary salsa. As I said before, that we used to wake up with our eyes burning because she would make this salsa and it would permeate the entire house. But boy, it got us up very quickly out of bed and out of the house. And that was probably a good way to get us going. Okay. So I am going to just take this and... So we use a little of this great salsa here. And I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this nice little rice on there. So as you can see here, it's not too mushy. There's not any water left in the pan at all. And so that's what you want. You don't want any liquid left in there. You want it to have soaked it. I mean, if you accidentally put too much liquid, just keep the lid off and just let it cook down because you do not want to have a mushy rice. So let's just put a little dollop on there. Okay. We don't need too much, but that would be beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and put some avocado slices on here as well. Since we got 4 little pieces of tortilla, I'm going to put 4 on there. That one has a little brown on there. Okay, make it as pretty as you can. Let's go ahead and add this beautiful little oregano flower here. I thought that was really pretty. I have to have that. Okay, let's pull these tacos out of the oven. And let's see, who's going to be my taster today? Alicia, you want to be my taster? Oh, perfect. Look at this. Awesome.
Hi, sweetie.
Hey, how you going?
Good.
Oh man, it's great to have you here. You were on my show last week and we had a good time making chile.
That's fantastic.
So that was really fun. So today you're going to try this. How's this look? So
beautiful.
I'm going to give you this one, and this is the one that I didn't cook, okay? And you know, I might have you try one of each one, and then you can kind of give me your take on which one you like a little bit better, okay? Let's put a little teeny bit of salsa. I have a little Rachel sauce on here.
How about if we get a little plate?
Well, no, we're going to do it just like this, and I'm just going to let you take a little bite of this.
Just in case. Last time it got a little juicy. A little juicy.
You got a white dress on. Okay. This away. All these moving parts here. Okay. So look at that. Isn't that fantastic? And honestly, you've got maybe like about 12 carbohydrates on this. And you're gonna feel full because that rice is, got a lot of good fiber in it. The jicama's got great fiber in it. I'm gonna throw just a little teeny bit of microgreens on there. Why not? We got them sitting right here. So that is beautiful. Why not? Beautiful organic little microgreens. Okay, Licia.
Beautiful.
So, well, you want to use your own little plate there to kind of
Yes,
try one of
please.
each one. Okay, so you're gonna have to hang on to that. So let you use your fingers there. Tell me what you think. She has to smell it first.
That's beautiful. Crispy.
Crispy, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna let you taste the other one and tell me what you think. You want a napkin? Okay. So let's try this other one here. And these are the ones that we cooked a little bit before. So you tell me what you think about that. Actually, let's throw a little bit of avocado. Let's make this all absolutely perfect for you. Little microgreens, little salsa.
I'm dying to try this.
Okay, that's next. Here you go. Try that one.
Beautiful.
See what you think.
This one's warmer.
Yeah, that's a little warmer.
See that? That's just gonna go all over the place.
I mean, that's one thing about primal eating.
Very good.
So you like the one that's cooked a little teeny bit more? Or?
They're both fantastic.
They're both fantastic. Awesome. Okay, so you try it and see which way you like it better. Slightly a little bit cooked. Or right here, I got a little plate for you right here. So just give you a little taste of that. See what you think. How's the meat? Do you like the flavor?
It was tender.
Tender? Okay, awesome.
It's delicious, marinated. This is so beautiful. Spanish rice, and how many carbs is this? Like the whole thing.
Well, honestly, 3.5 cups is 9 grams of sugar, so it's super, super low. What do you think?
Delicious.
Yeah, you could go
light,
for that?
Light as a feather.
Light as a feather. Excellent. So again, another successful, sensational meal that you can put in your repertoire. Taco Tuesday, here we come. So again, Keto Taco Tuesday, exactly. And don't forget that by the end of September, we are going to be launching a beta group that's going to help you move straight into a keto lifestyle so that you never have to worry about weight and you never have to worry about things that potentially futuristic with the way the environment with disease. Well, we can't predict the future, but we can certainly try to prevent disasters from happening often with just the choices we make. So don't forget to enroll into our Keto Kickstart, and we will notify you when we go live with that. Share this video with your friends and have a great weekend.
Thank you.